How's it going, everybody? Today I wanted to do a brief video about the Tobii EYEX eye tracker, and also a brief description of a very important piece of software, probably the most important in my opinion, if you're a gamer. A piece of software called Iris, which is made by a developer called Xcessity for the Tobii EYEX. Honestly, the EYEX without Iris is kind of useless from a gaming standpoint, except for maybe a few specific games, most notably recently being The Division. Well, anyway, so let's get down to what I'm doing here. I'm using the EYEX rather than doing the heat map tracing, which is what you usually see Twitch gamers do with the EYEX. I'm actually using it to control my mouse, or my aiming in CSGO, what you're looking at in the video. Anyway, honestly, online I see a lot of people saying that EYEX or eye tracking in gaming is just a gimmick, it's useless. I think from what you're going to see here, although it is not yet ideal, it definitely has potential in the future. And for someone who is honestly kind of crap at FPS games, on the PC particularly, I mean, I'm just one of those people that no matter how much I play, and I've been playing PC FPS shooters since Wolfenstein. I'm 32 now. I just never acquired the affinity for aiming with a mouse. My mouse aiming, especially in mid-range and long-range combat, is absolutely crap. Now, in close range combat with, like, say, a shotgun, you obviously don't have to be very good or very accurate at all. It's kind of just, you know, point shooting. It's like point shooting with a real gun. You just point in the general direction and you got yourself a kill. But I've actually noticed, now this of course is subjective if you're one of those people that has amazing mouse aim, you have a $200 gaming mouse with, counterweights and, the special sensors, whatever the hell they are, and it's like 16,000 DPI, which is like insane to me. If you're one of those kind of people, you probably won't find this add-on very useful. But for me, my basic problem with mouse aiming, no matter what sensitivity I use, even if I'm using raw input, is I tend to panic and oversteer. I see the object or the person I'm trying to aim for, but the message just is not fucking getting to my hand. It's ridiculous. So the EYEX, I find, for designated marksmanship type rifles, at least in CSGO, is really useful, because even though the EYEX is not perfectly pinpoint accurate, the zoom basically creates an artificial target area, an artificially enlarged target area for you to hit. And the EYEX is accurate within about, I'd say, the size of your thumb, about an arm's length away. So for zoomed weapons, especially for DMR type rifles where the hit damage is really high, even though you're not perfectly accurate, if you're consistent, you can do quite well. And the lovely thing about eye tracking is that there's no panic or oversteering, at least not for me. All I have to do is concentrate on looking at my target. And well, if the target's moving, obviously I have to concentrate on looking a little bit ahead. If, like, right there, I kind of had to lead the target on a few shots. But that's even easier too. I'm not worried about, my wrist locking up, which, by the way, is a completely other thing. I know I'm rambling here. I have this weird habit where I will almost always get my crosshair close to my target, and then my wrist will not move any further. So I will be shooting in, a firefight in the game, and my crosshair just won't move onto the target. I'll be sitting right next to him, but for some reason the signal is not getting to my hand to, like, just move that crosshair just an inch to the left or to the right. For me, the EYEX completely cures that. I don't know, maybe I'm fucking retarded, but it's plausible. But wow, I mean, I'm really having a good time with it. Now, I have to say this. If you just want something that you're just going to plug in and play and just, go about your business and not have to worry about any settings at all, the EYEX and Xcessity software is not for you. I've honestly had the Xcessity software for about a year. I played with it for about a month, and I kind of just got annoyed with trying to find the perfect settings for, FPS gaming. And by the way, he has a particular mode called FPS View that is for FPS gaming, and I think that mode's been on the software for about a year now. You are going to have to play with the settings a bit and understand how this is working. From my understanding, or at least from observing this, FPS View basically turns your monitor screen into a massive touchpad, which means it's... I don't know, how do I explain this? With a mouse, on, like, say, a mouse on a table, you swipe your mouse, so many degrees, and then, where your wrist stops, that's approximately where, the mouse stops on screen. It's obviously not one-to-one, it's relative, because you're, making a motion on one other surface, and that motion is being transferred into another, surface. But the FPS view mode in the Iris software, I feel like it's kind of detecting when my eyes are moving in a particular direction, and it continues to move the crosshair in that direction until my eyes stop. So, you don't really necessarily get that crisp snap aiming that you get from, a mouse where you can just, steer and stop on a dime. It doesn't quite work that way. So you're going to have to accept that there is some wobble with the aiming. So, I don't know. I should have probably written a script for what the hell I'm going to say here. I'm just kind of rambling on. But it is interesting. And, yeah, just... if you decide to get the EYEX and the Iris software, just accept that there's going to be a certain amount of wobble with your eyes, and you're going to have to adjust the sensitivity and the turning speed of not only the Iris software, but also in-game as well, so that the wobble's not completely throwing your aim off, but you, generally speaking, want to be close in of the vicinity of your target. And I found a setting that works for me in this particular game. And by the way, the settings are going to be different for every single game. Like, I play this arena shooter called, I think it's, Exotic, where the characters are moving a million miles an hour, and the settings are completely different for that. And honestly, I'm not very good with it. But then again, I'm not very good with arena shooters with my mouse either. The characters are moving too fast, and I simply can't get my crosshair on target. So, anyway, I don't know. That's that was stupid. And that's the other thing that you have to be careful of. Like with any new device or peripheral, it's going to take amount of time to become acclimated to it. Like this, if you're one of those people that you tend to flick your eyes between targets, you're really going to have to learn to pick the closest target to you, the most immediate threat, and then concentrate. That's probably been the biggest thing for me. And but then again, in a way, it's kind of improved my gameplay in general. Not to say that my gameplay is good, because I'm a shit player. I always have been, and I probably always will be. But relative to myself, this has been a great training tool, because now I have to pick a target, focus on that target, and finish that target. And that, even in instances where I know I'm going to lose, like I walk into a room with 3 guys, I pick the closest guy, or the one that's like most immediate to my crosshair, and I just wail away until the threat is gone, or until, for that round, my life is over. And that in itself is a good training tool for FPS games, because I know one thing about myself: if I go in a room with 3 guys, all of a sudden I'm aiming in the general direction of all the guys. Even though, in real life, I'm a gun enthusiast. I know, like, when I go duck hunting, I have to, you don't aim your shotgun at the flock of ducks or geese or whatever, bird you're shooting at. You pick a particular one out of the group and you fire at it. And this is what this tends to help you do.